Hello. So I've been in Kansas City now since Tuesday, and it is Thursday, I think. I'm sitting in front of my computer in my house in Kansas City. And so last night, the Cubs won the World Series, which is super exciting. A friend of mine Snapchatted the reaction afterwards, and it was pretty amazing to see I mean, you could hear screams and horns and all kinds of stuff for apparently miles. So yeah, it was really cool. I'm glad I wasn't there for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm here with my family, but also because I'm sure it was crazy. But then I hated that I was not there for the fact that Luna, of course, was there by herself, and I hate to think of how scared she might have gotten. But the sitter checked on her this morning, and she texted me some pictures and stuff and said she was fine. So that was a relief to hear that. Yeah, we went to Walmart last night, and they had all their Halloween stuff on sale for 50% off. Well, I'm just gonna tell you, we bought a lot of Halloween stuff at 50% off. We got some tombstones, and they're tombstone packs, and I'll show you. I'll film looking at them later, probably when Darren gets back from work. We got a couple of costume-oriented things. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. We had a cart full of, or if you're from the South, a buggy. We had a buggy full of Halloween stuff, and then we had a few extra things, like I got some jeans and stuff like that. But yeah, we took my stepdaughter with us, which was awesome to hang out with her. I can't believe how grown up she is, and if I start talking about that, I'll get all weepy. But anyway, she's a good kid. She's a good kid. Yeah, it's been Darren's parents are pretty shaken up by everything that's gone on lately. So we've been going over spending some time with them in the evenings when we both get off work. And so that's been it's been sad, but it's been, I think, hopefully good for them, for all of us to be around and um, you know, showing our support and everything. The funeral is on, or sorry, the viewing is on Friday night, um, and then the funeral's on Saturday. So, and it's supposed to be a casual dress funeral, which I think is that seems to be sort of a trend these days, having that sort of approach. I brought, some black slacks and a shirt, a nice shirt and everything. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and wear that. It's kind of business casual, I guess. So not too far from casual. I don't want to go against their wishes that much, but I do feel sort of strange about wearing jeans, being too casual at a funeral. And it's funny how death makes you think about dying. It makes you think about, everybody's fate. We're all fated to die at some point in some way or another. And then you start thinking about your possessions and what's going to happen with that, your debts, what's going to happen with that. Um, you know, it's a weird thing, and it's funny because when you're younger, or when I was younger, I didn't really think too much about. I always thought, I was, because okay, let me get my thoughts together. I was quite a rebellious teenager slash 20-year old, and I always figured I would die young because of how I lived my life and the things that I did. And I'm actually at this point in my life surprised that I am still on this planet. and that I was never arrested for the things that I did as a younger person. When I say stuff like that, it makes me feel so old. I don't normally feel old. Um, but anyway, so just thinking about that sort of stuff is it's sobering to think about the things that you have and the people who will have to deal with those things once you're gone. And and funeral plans. I mean, you know, do you know what you want to happen at your funeral? Do you know if you want to be buried or cremated? Um, if you're going to be cremated, do you know what you want to happen with the ashes? You know, what sort of, if you're going to have any sort of a service, what sort of music would you want? Would you want people to try to give a speech or eulogy or whatever? Um, how would you how would you want people to dress or remember you, or do you want pictures of yourself? Do you want a slideshow or a video? Or I mean, it's there's so much that goes into the whole experience that I guess as we don't want to face it, we don't want to think about it because we don't want to die. We love our lives, you know. I mean, I guess most people, I can't say that for everybody, but we love living and doing things and thinking about tomorrow and future plans and stuff. But when a loved one passes away, it does make you think about that kind of stuff. What makes me think about it anyway. And I mean, it's so we're so jaded as a society anymore. People get shot or killed or whatever, and it's all over the news. It's all over social media. That happens constantly, so we kind of get jaded to it. And then, of course, I'm very into horror movies and stuff like that. And in those types of shows or movies, people get killed constantly. So it's all you're all very removed, or I'm all very removed from that reality until it actually happens in real life. And then I keep saying you, I'm talking about myself, of course. I'm saying you in the generic form. But you know, I think about that kind of stuff. And then of course I think about the fact that I live in a completely different state than my family. And I think about things like what would happen, you know, if I'm not here and I can't be with them if something happens. And of course, those are all things I don't want to think about. But it's funny how it hits you. And I started talking about being younger and not thinking about it when I was younger. But the older I get, the more I think about it, because of course, mortality is a reality. That's a terrible rhyme, but it is. It's going to happen to all of us someday, and as even if we don't want it to, it's inevitable. You know, right? Death and taxes, right? If you're in the states. Anyway, I know I'm rambling on about that, but I just think it's sort of a something that we don't think about often, that we don't want to think about often, that we probably shouldn't think about often, because then you start getting sort of sad about it and dwelling on it. And again, the "you" is a general term. Maybe it doesn't bother you that much. And I know when my mom or my dad talk about when their time comes, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. It's not something I want to think about, of course, but then I do need to know. I need to know what they want and how they want things handled. And the same with my husband, and you know, I need to share that information. And so I think the point of all this is I've been thinking about what I would want. And I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, you know, I think about a song, just something as simple as what song would I want to play, or what what sort of memory would I want people to have of me? What if I was buried? Would I want to have an open casket funeral, or would I want to have it closed? I don't know. I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to think about, and I say interesting, and that sounds sort of morbid, I guess, but it's an interesting thing to think about to me. Um, my husband actually worked at a funeral home for a while, and he had to sit down with people and plan out these things. Uh, I never really got to see what people decided for different things, but I'm sure it was interesting to find out what people wanted. because they had a form. He brought me the form, and you could fill out, all those things that I mentioned. What sort of music? What do you want? A picture of yourself, like a blown up picture, that sort of a thing. And you could write a paragraph about the things that you wanted. Then I think about the funerals that are on, there's some TV series, World's Weirdest Funerals or something like that, where people have themselves posed in a certain way. Maybe they really liked. I think there was one guy on his motorcycle. He really loved his motorcycle, so he had them pose him on the motorcycle. I don't know what to think about that. It's interesting. It's interesting that somebody would want to do that. I don't know how I would handle seeing that. If I were to go to that person's funeral or viewing or whatever, to see them taxidermied up on a thing, it would be very strange to me. Interesting, but strange. But then we have people who donate their bodies to science or to, like there's the Bodies in Motion thing, where it's like you saw in my industry and technology and whatever, the museum that I visited. You see the bodies, and people have donated their bodies to be part of this for research and stuff, which is also interesting. I mean, I wonder if would I want to do. I mean, I kind of feel like that would be something I would want to do. I always my entire life I've felt like, I say my entire life, as far back as I can remember, I've wanted to try to share knowledge with people if I can. So after I'm gone, that would be really cool to be able to continue to share. If somebody could learn something from my remains or whatever, that or could use them, I'm a donor for sure. I would want them to. I'd want them to be able to get a better understanding of the human body in whatever way that they could, if it was something that was possible with my whatever leftovers. I know that's a horrible way to put it. I don't know how else to put it. But it would be interesting, I think, to. Well, it wouldn't be interesting to me anymore because I would be gone. But hopefully, I would be able to help. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll offer that up. I don't know. I don't even know how you would do that. Dear science community, use my dead body for whatever you want. I don't know. I don't know how that works. All right, I guess that's it. Real quick though, I have been vlogging throughout, taking pictures. I vlogged on the train. I'll edit all that stuff and put it all together in a wrap up sort of a vlog later on. But I was just had this on my mind and thought I would jump on here and talk about it. So not too much probably for editing, even though I'm at 13 minutes right now. I'm gonna probably leave it at that. And I'm definitely curious about your thoughts on the whole funeral death thing. Do you know what your plans are? Or do you know how you would want it to happen or not happen? Sorry, take that back. Do you know what sort of arrangements you would want for yourself? I'm curious about that. I wanna hear your thoughts. Have you even considered it? All right. Let me know stuff down in the comments. You know where to find me. I have all my stuffs in the description. And I'll be vlogging throughout, so I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.